Chris, what time does the next session get over?
It's scheduled to go from 1 to 3, but usually it's about 2:45.
Okay,
So
perfect.
it would be no longer than 3.
Okay, thank you. No. Oh, you come here. Keep losing internet connection here. Yeah, but this Let's go to the coast. Well,
You're always on. Go get some food.
The Cardinals just called me, you stupid. $60,000 Mustang, wait for
16,000 or
60.
Oh, really?
Shelby, yeah.
Wow. Oh, awesome.
Yep, you go to the truck.
That's awesome.
A big ass truck, and you're really tired of it. It's expensive, that's $120 for it, so.
I know, gosh.
You get 820 pounds of it.
Oh, and
Plus when you're running around everywhere.
And tires, last time I put tires on it was $6,200.
Wow.
Yeah, they get building.
Plus getting in and out of places and all that. I love
I
my
take
little
it 4
car.
park spots everywhere I go, the other one wouldn't be getting.
Oh, you should see the big boarding asset line. Hardly my color.
Yeah.
Some in the wind and that storm somebody got me. Bad. And they didn't even leave a name on it. I don't know who it was. Have a huge tree.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, who are you? There you go.
Yeah. Great.
Time.
Oh, out there, what?
Just try to buy one. Yes. Okay. What's going to your client right now? I'm good.
I don't know, that's like, pretty cool.
Yeah.
You got 4 people in contact. So,
You what?
4 people in contract buyout.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because that's it. I put all this money on it. We need all these people, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how was that done? But I got in contact with Roger and everything. But, oh, you're a lot farther ahead than I thought. Yeah.
Which I thought we
Wrong.
it's most.
Yeah, do that. That's a lot of people, what she says, like, all that. already-
So you got a buyer rep and a seller rep.
Now, the buyers are, and
Buyers
some
are-
outside and now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Sweet, how much?
But,
She looked, it was like,
Where at?
it was 55.
20, almost 24 square foot. 3-car
Well,
garage.
I can drive it.
It's in Cedar Point subdivision, the higher end subdivision. Sort of.
Well, are you doing a lot of, not public area? I'll give you some referrals then, because I don't want to do that. I mean, I'll do that, but I don't.
I lined it on Colville.
Right, and I don't know that area, so.
I don't know, it's everything on that.
mm,
I think you have to have something. Well, the one person, the one lady moved to Arkansas.
Maybe go back out over in there. Maybe it might be just this area. I don't know.
And that's a city at the bottom, moved to Arkansas, so lived in that house, and we got contract. She wants to legal property for $130,000. I like to.
That's what mine is, it's 202 to 250 and a 55 and older. Unless you have a trailer,
Yeah.
it's very hard to find it.
I mean,
There's nothing out there.
I moved the damn like it. There was one that had to get approved by the subdivision.
Yeah. I don't think I'll do Gulliver unless, I don't know. I'll check that, but, yeah.
And like the four sale by owners. They took my business.
Have you approached him?
That was like, okay. Fuck everybody. Talking, not a problem. It's just,
No, mine's not either.
one, they're just got married in the early 20s. So gunshot. When they want to move their hair, come on. I told them.
Time is as it's you've got
That's
it.
what I say, especially now. It's like, if you're not ready to sit there and bother, even. They got. They get a little irritated when it's gone. There's a house for sale, but it's 7,022 square foot.
Holy Toledo.
4 stories.
Nice.
It's up by the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's 720.
Nice. I'm a couple of those, I guess.
7,000 square foot. It's almost half an acre. But the house is a little bit.
Yeah. Forest growing out of those, maybe his basement. Yeah,
Oh, they said it's like a group house.
like that.
Eagles a place to be, so that's houses.
Huh?
Eagles a place to be.
That's where I live.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me.
A couple of those.
So 4 of them will be good all year.
Yeah. I have one that's getting pre-approved right now, it's gonna be between the house, but. And she's, yeah, it's hard to find a house for you like that, being 50-year-old. It's all starting to come together.
Oh, we got a sign or two.
Oh, yeah. working?
It's a little better.
I thought with our window system was kind of bad.
Okay, no, that's
Did you
okay.
get it?
That's okay.
I should.
Did you have to do this last time? Did you have to do this last time? You just-
Yeah.
Actually, you were doing fire.
No, I was doing
Oh, okay. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I showed that one house in Lake. There's a lot about the house, and then you might. Not in two big.
It's not your
I, sorry, I'm not going to do. Yeah.
It's not. Days.
Now I gotta. I get one of the first ones. That's not very switched to the list. No. And I don't. Because I've been doing something else and everything, and then I just kind of redoing everything. And go over everything on that day. And it's like, it's all we're doing. Like, Tracy, she was, it's not really too much of a burnout. Because that would not. See, there's March. Maybe. But I can. Yeah, this was good. This is good. Yeah, you ask our front desk girls. They know everything.
Oh, yeah. It's the already approved total.
Yeah. Can't put my toes.
You're not smart enough. So you guys heard from Nugget? You know the guy that brought us his lunch all the time?
Oh, yeah, I run into him everywhere.
Okay, how did he do?
Good, he won't touch it right now.
Oh, did he? Okay. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, I went in. Me and the test the same day. Same day, twice. I ran into him at, I don't know, what's the commission on the board, but I said stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I ran into him one other place too. All services were there.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that guy everywhere.
I see Rosie now,
Yeah.
but she's in college.
Yeah, she texted me.
Fritos,
Yeah.
yum.
That's a,
Lavender by you. He's like, I should move those over the other side of me.
because once you start, you can't stop.
He's fun.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
okay.
Really, I was joking, but thank you.
Absolutely.
No kidding.
I don't think
Hey.
I have cards.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep it so that we can all like be in touch.
You have another.
I did have your number,
I
yes.
think I have one. Friends. She ran
Are you a Bears fan?
No, everybody's with my team did
Thank you. Oh, that's really good.
Where is that kind of their building?
No, I had it taken from, one of my friends took it.
Oh, dang, look at you.
Ooh la la.
Someone said,
Brown chicken.
oh,
How do you leave different?
yeah, and I was like, oh.
Mm,
I get the gist of the hair. I was like, oh, I think I'm kind of sad now.
No, I like Kathy Lee, but, no.
No.
I just don't like dressing up, so I haven't done.
I know where to find you.
Yeah. I have on my old copy.
That's
Someone else's.
Mine
That's
Like this.
just the cheap ones we just printed.
Well, when we did this,
That,
well, we,
you know, I don't want to go back.
I need it closer up, so when I'm done with these, I'm gonna redo them. 'Cause I wasn't-
I need my headshot tomorrow.
Where are you doing it at?
Shoot, painful. Whatever. Parker, what do you call it?
I'm taking my own stuff.
Title people?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's cool.
So I need to go up closer, but I'm gonna major, it. You know how yours is like that?
It's harder than you do it.
I
Yes.
asked
That's why you
for
love it.
this, but they sent us to Timeless Photo. So that's what they're taking.
They
But
just,
I actually like the,
I just did a background because our, yeah, but it's a, actually, Cincy. Yeah, Cincy. So I worked all day, I was running behind, I had to get this, CMA out, I was running behind, and so I didn't go home and get cleaned up. I, thank God I had a black jacket, I just threw it on. Okay.
you look hot.
No. The other one was very well, okay, well, it's okay.
Well. Okay, I have a funny question. I've been to all these classes. Going to my doctor tomorrow. Class. It's good. But when you're in, you know what they were talking about, like the hot shit, when you just log in, it's gonna take all the fingerprints. I'm gonna like.
I like the joke, like my kids' fingerprints all over.
On
there, I'm like.
Those touch screens are like nice, but then, whoa,
So what is that a tablet?
it can be used as a tablet or a
Because
laptop.
that's what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yes.
I need to
It's
get
not
it.
a-
I paid
It's a
$400.
Surface Pro.
And I paid $400 for Mac and those were them. So I just waiting. I'll probably snap them in half. Well, those run.
See, I don't mind to use my, that's okay.
If you,
Hey,
I can
you
do it,
guys.
I can do it, you can do it. I'll say dirty part.
I say whatever, because-
I finally figured it out.
What?
Oh my gosh.
What, was it operator error?
Well, it was Wi-Fi bro. And he's like, oh, you gotta switch like.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll bring it.
Then oh, thank you so much. Then I realized I didn't know this part. So I have to do this first on the instrument.
Yeah.
But you have to click simul sign so
Yeah.
that everyone can sign simultaneously. And mine was signed on my own. So the listing agent had to review it before I would see it before.
I will call
See,
Robert
we're not
right
doing
now.
this, we're doing.
Yeah, I was like,
He
Right?
called me at 10.
So anyways, what did you have a question?
Well, so when it
Not
looks like logged in, let me see if we can get just to the home page. And like you just want to see all the new listings for the day.
wait, what?
It'll be,
Oh, that's good.
what?
Surf.
Oh, yes, yes,
Do you love it?
yes. Love it.
Okay, that's.
My Mac does the same program as that.
Oh, it does?
I can't just see one.
I can't either. So we
I
just-
told you
I
that.
couldn't have pasted it.
Yeah, so that's the one, she just said she likes it. No, thank you.
Okay, good to know.
Oh, you
And
Love it.
is it Wi-Fi only based?
Yes.
Is it Wi-Fi based or data based?
It's just, will be, like I can use Wi-Fi or I can,
You should have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're like sharing.
you can use it, you just, well, like I use my phone as a hotspot.
Yes,
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 yeah,
okay. It works fine.
yeah.
Can you hook that up to your phone, right? Like Verizon or?
I don't know, actually.
I think it's just like a laptop.
It is.
I have 2 tablets on that.
Oh, that's good to know.
See, I have a tablet
think I
too,
need that
I have an
today.
iPad.
And
iPad
so,
does the same
the
thing.
downfall is, if, when I take pictures with this and stuff, you know, unless you put it into like, one of those other,
It's not an iPod.
yeah, it doesn't sync, you know, so I get pictures that I take here, when I'm on the job sites, or then I've got pictures I take here, and they don't all sync, so you
See,
gotta
that's what I
always
like
be.
about the iPad, is it syncs, and I
Yeah.
got the brand new iPad. So I could do, I
Oh,
could get
you
this,
can
technically
I
do
could do that.
It
with-
should be able to do the same thing, it just,
Yeah.
this will serve more as a computer, whereas the iPad doesn't.
I think that's what I was.
So you wanna go to,
I gotta get back to the home. Oh, here we go.
so go Paragon.
Hey, guys.
That wasn't as big as you say. Is it still like, oh yeah, it's still doing it. I'm like,
I was like, so the new listings are right there. Is that what you were looking for?
yeah, so, but this is, like, you have, is this just a default? Like,
Unless you say.
Unless,
Oh, this part?
yeah, like, I have to,
I think you could change it like. So there's settings, you can like the settings. And so it can change whatever you want this to be.
so everything that it like pops up.
You can switch it out.
so where's your settings at to do that?
Sort out.
That teeny little icon on the left, just.
Oh,
So you see how you can change it?
oh yeah, so you don't get land and all
Yeah.
that other stuff, because I don't want all that. Okay,
Okay. so-
and this will tell you your areas that you want to look at.
Sorry if I got free over.
Oh, it's okay.
I can't even remember the last time I ever had a free over.
Those are good.
So like,
Okay, so you can put which one you want, and what area you want to search in.
okay, so. This here. Okay, so then it's. And so this over here is if you want just to do a quick search on your own property or something.
Where you can do, all right, I always just go to search. Do you?
I do.
Wait, what do you
How'd
do?
you change your?
But like if
key?
you're out looking, showing the property, you
Uh-huh.
can say, hey, I know this other address, I don't know, so you can just go search it. Just to get.
And that's
some
right
basic-
there,
Yeah.
right?
You can download that after.
Wait, what?
When it-
See if you're part of Keller.
Oh, are you
Lane,
serious?
have the
Yeah,
Keller
we
You
Lane
can use it
app.
on your phone?
It knows where you are.
And then it gives you everything
It
around it.
gives you everything around.
So do you have that on your iPhone? Is this on your
Yeah.
phone? Yeah.
It's almost, yeah, almost not progress.
Oh, I did not know that.
See, we have
No, I
like,
don't know.
look at ours. With Keller Williams. We go into subdivision.
Oh, yeah, that too.
You guys do too? Yeah. Okay, cool.
I don't, but
Like
I
you go here,
think they showed that to me, which is really cool.
you can go there. type
Yeah,
in
because
your address.
Now it's showing you properties.
And it does
It takes it.
If I'm out with a client, well, there are properties.
Oh,
Pull
well,
up, it knows where I
So is
am.
it similar to our,
But it's just
John Al's
Keller County property. Or Keller County.
but ours is, I think ours is.
Yeah, there's that same house right there.
Yeah, it just doesn't work, it just doesn't work very well.
This is a.
Really?
Ours.
What
I
goes
don't
on?
like it.
The MLS?
Did you get anybody's
It's
sign?
like your GPS.
Yes.
This is nice because like, I'm sure you can, right, and look at all the ones that are in.
Did what you put in there?
That's cool.
Whether it's access or,
It's
it's really.
Oh.
That's John Al's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I didn't know that was right across the street though.
Directions.
How did you
So
find
it's really helpful.
like my house isn't listed, but I want to find out like.
Oh, so ours will just tell you where you're at.
And then,
If I like type in,
Oh, I didn't even know that was up there. See, what's up new?
I just learned that a minute ago.
Oh, I didn't know it was up there.
Because I was always.
Or all
Yeah.
your budget classes.
yeah, we are Mark City.
Yeah.
The one right behind me,
Mark, it doesn't pull up them.
Yeah,
from
where's
like
the,
Wisconsin.
Oh, so that's what it was just land.
Click on picture.
Because I've never.
So I guess he was just in.
So this is when the other person joined this house.
It just looks a lot.
yeah,
Yeah, we bought a lot from them.
yeah, because it was too much on me.
But we're going
It's
to.
too much for me looking at, you found the information on the internet. I went through a lot of it.
I do know.
It's all about
So that I can.
lead generation. And then a lot of it is just.
Yeah,
practicing
because we
calling.
haven't even been in it a year.
Yeah.
So if we sold it.
You have to call. You have to call and say, hey,
You have to remember
Where's
your
the
scripts.
Oh,
is that I got the book?
oh,
Yeah.
you are?
So I'm gonna be studying this, because I'm gonna be down.
It's a CB phone.
Oh,
The
So,
lot's like 1, 2, 1 or something.
So. like,
so you have to do it
Three-car
for
garage.
I think so.
nice.
I just put all hardwood floors in there.
Nice.
Oh, never again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because it talks about encouragement.
Way too
But
fast.
I'm
Well,
not,
I'm a general contractor.
but I'm gonna tell you right now,
And so, yeah.
I'm not a cold caller.
Alright, walk in the house.
I'm not aware of it. It talks about lead generation.
Yeah, walk in the house there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Reach out, help.
So it's 3 days a week. It's like 3 hours.
Yeah.
No, there's a picture of the living room on here.
And every day you're not there, then you're.
Ask, ask Brett.
Sorry. Do you guys have a sign ticket?
Yeah.
How did you get this open?
What open? The outlet. Oh, I don't know. You can unplug my phone. I think mine's okay.
I don't mind doing it. I like
Right.
being
Right. We
private.
did that this week. You have a wide certain- So that's important.
Yeah, I like Meridian in April. That's where I'm at.
That's what now.
Yeah, here she said that.
Yeah, I live up Paramount.
I lived in Texas for 20 years. I don't think
Yeah.
so. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now let's see.
Well, this is my dog, I gotta find a picture, this is my dog.
Oh,
That's not even 6 months, he's 50 pounds already. And I think there's 4 dogs. I get another one Friday.
You do, I want a dog so bad. And just my puppy. I just have to bring my puppy to sleep. I can't talk about it to a friend.
Well, we keep in touch, it's like the bulldogs, we're not puppies in like a year.
Well, I have a Shih Tzu. We could breed Shih Tzu and Bulldogs. And
Oh my
But,
Have you ever heard of it before? Yeah, I'm.
no, a little Shih Tzu is this big ass cat dog, it's Latin.
oh, yeah, I have to, thank you. The other side doesn't open. Do you have enough battery?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably the toughest day of my life. I was like 3 weeks ago.
Oh. Yes, I just took her home and you're like.
I have a blanket she always slept on and I sleep with it smelling. She's way too old.
Oh.
She's so cute. I had her for 15
This is not very good.
I know. She's like,
That's
She's
great.
like my balls.
On the far side here,
Yeah.
the far side here to the door.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because if that, that board's not perfectly straight, and it's not looking
But
at.
you know, she's
Yeah.
older than so. Like my.
That whole area, from the door, all the way through the kitchen, dining area, and everything.
Palm Springs. And my brother-in-law and my sister
That's awesome.
watched her. And my brother-in-law said, Kristen, she is not perfect. She is really, you know, you pet her and you go over her spine, you know, and you do it. So
It's a beast.
just because she's not active anymore. We used to go to.
Oh, nice. Yeah, now
And
it's
so
good.
she got off the bed and had a seizure Wednesday.
Selling that, we're
We,
selling.
we,
Oh, yeah.
it was keeping her away from my son. But
This was one of the fun pieces in ours that we do. This is a metal wall. And then so it's across to here. The mantle only runs from here over, and then parts from here clear over. So it's been pretty smooth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you like it?
I'm well, how are you? Ellen or Tony?
Oh, that's a Shelby.
They're not my best friend's name. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Nice.
Nice.
First place
I
realty,
didn't realize like,
they're in Meridian, pretty
that's
small.
crazy. I like it.
Two things.
come on in.
How about you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. I've heard of them, so.
So does Jeannie,
So are you
want
brand
Jeannie?
new or?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's awesome. Got freaking
Oh,
rock
okay.
body.
So you know what you're doing already.
Zero.
Well, that's a leg ahead of me. I just been doing some tracking there.
And she was walking by the
Started off with doing lawns.
my friend's here. Oh my gosh, look at her.
Oh, okay.
Look at her. Isn't she awesome? Jeannie. I was like, how do you know her? You know everything. We're just wearing rocking body. She's like,
So I think for my real estate type deal.
well, you may have been a little.
What do you think?
I mean, this is horse racing all the time. Yeah, isn't it actually like surgery work on the nose?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Finally.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's specific.
But here's all ours.
No, that's where.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I posted a little bit.
You know what?
Well, actually,
Oh, you know what? I think there was a picture of the
You'll have
Oh, nice. I know. I totally remember you did this. You know, you look like my friend Terry Harris did that. And it put your hair all curled like that.
When I actually had to write my first offer, it was like nothing at all. We were at first. Oh, okay. Oh, are they?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are you focusing on, like commercial?
Remember the guy with the-
Or are you focusing on price range? Oh, okay.
Jace.
Oh, okay.
The Carver and Carson played the process.
It's slowed down now, but there was a period there where, I mean, California's come up. You've got, you know, you've got a network there up here. I mean, it's pretty smart.
Well, actually, Carson and Gary. Oh, that's his wife. Stephen Marshall. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, no. That's funny. That's okay. So that's funny.
I only took it to her because I love her.
Yeah, but she could.
So you have clients already? Or-
What? I got you. Oh, yes. Yeah.
By the way, Lincoln said.
Slowly working on it.
Oh, how's it
Just, there you go.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Look at my friend. Oh my gosh, yeah. Look at the hair, the beautiful smile. Isn't that funny?
Hello.
Do you have a second?
Yeah.
I'm Lori Panzeri.
Okay.
So I've been to a couple of classes. So I know this is a weird question. When we bought our house 4 years ago, on the MLS it said James Clyde Great Homes, la la la. So we get in there and it has a different builder's name all over it. And I'm like, I don't think that's the right guy that built this house. And it wasn't. So they should have done a corrective form.
Right.
Everything was wrong. I mean, it didn't even match the house. So that real estate agent just screwed up or pasted the wrong thing.
Right, just put the wrong information in there. Or,
Just, yeah, okay, I was just wondering, so would they have gotten fined for that?
If they didn't fix it, they could have. I mean, if we had been made aware of it, we contacted them and they corrected it, they wouldn't have been fined.
Oh, okay.
It's only if they didn't correct it, the fine would be.
Well, my son is Joe Panzeri, and he's Mike Gamlin's son.
Mhm.
And, you know, I just got my real estate checked out with my son, and now people are asking me, like, I don't know anything. I'm freaking out over all this fine stuff. And Joe's like, well, if you do it on purpose, you're gonna get in trouble. He goes, well, they're gonna help you.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're not
Because
trying to.
they're not gonna kill you.
But we want accurate data.
Yeah.
I mean, no, just to be frank, if someone's too dumb to get it right, they deserve to get fined.
Right.
I mean, if it's just an accident and you fix it, they're not getting
But
fined.
I'm just looking around there going, oh my God, whoever put that information in there is an idiot. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was not the right house.
Well, and it could have been that, like, they had an assistant or somebody who did it, and the agent gave them the form filled out wrong, and they put it in there, and they never got it
Yeah,
correct.
it was crazy. So anyway, what you said, I experienced.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Thank you.
I can't imagine someone that's this way. So then now your friends, those that we trust more, are really
That's awesome. Yeah, but I would have had to be certain. I figured out that are you building a apartment or is that house still in? I finished that. It's me back then. So,
out there. What we do is, always fascinating. There's something fly about this. It's really real sensitive. And you've got you got to be a president to get a president. You can have a state You know, you take that license and it gives you some
Good afternoon. We'll get started here. So if you're wondering why are you starting these classes late? Well, for one, they don't have credit, so I can have a little more wiggle room. And number two, not everyone is here at 1 o'clock. And so instead of having people have to come in late, since we don't have to start on time exactly, because I don't have IREC breathing down my neck, we can have a little cushion. So anyway, so if you wondered why we sat here until 10 after, that's why. I wanted to make sure everybody got back. All right, so this is the new member orientation. Hopefully that's what you're here for today. My name is Chris Peterson. For those who weren't here this morning, I work here at the MLS. I do training, communication, basically all the classes. So if you take a Paragon class, you're going to take it from me. So if you hate me, I'm sorry. There's videos if you don't want to take classes, so you can watch those and not have to deal with me. So we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of different things today. For those who were here this morning, there is a small overlap, only because not everyone takes both classes in the same day. And we talked about so much this morning that you may not even recognize that it's an overlap, unless you memorize the slides. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what is the Intermountain MLS, why we have an MLS, a little bit about organizational structure and rules. And then we're going to talk about tools and resources the MLS has, like some of the products we have, the different programs, what they do. We'll talk about a little bit about Paragon and then have an antitrust presentation as well. Make sure this is going to work. So the first thing about the MLS, and this is one of those duplications from this morning, is when you're looking at the rules and regulations, you read the agreement you signed when you join the MLS, you'll see words participant and subscriber. A broker is a participant. They participate with their listings in the MLS. An agent is a subscriber. You subscribe to the service. So the two purposes of the MLS is the first one is a means by which participants make a unilateral offer of cooperation and compensation. So the MLS exists so that agents and brokers that have listings can work with other agents and brokers to sell those properties. You work together. The second purpose is a facility for the correlation and dissemination of listing information among participants. We're the Sears catalog of homes. We're all old enough, most of us, to remember a time in your life where you got some catalog or coupon book in the mail or delivered to your house before Christmas and you circled the toys you wanted. That's what the MLS is for consumers. They go online, they find the house they like, and then they use their agent to help them buy it. That's what the MLS is out there to do, is to get your listings out to those people, primarily agents and brokers, but goes on the internet as well. To accomplish these purposes, the MLS has business rules in place for accuracy of data. That's the main focus of the MLS, is that data accuracy. So in the rules class this morning, we talked about the violation chart and fines and things. All of those are so we have accurate data. That's what it's for. We're a regional MLS, cover from Ontario to Twin Falls. About 5,100 agents are part of the MLS, almost 5,200 now, in Idaho and Eastern Oregon. Latah County, Moscow became part of Intermountain MLS last summer, and about 75,000 listings annually go through the MLS. These are the associations that we are the primary MLS for. There's about 9 MLSs in Idaho, I believe. Idaho's very regionalized. If you didn't know that, if you're not native to Idaho, some people join Intermountain MLS, think they're joining the MLS for all of Idaho. That'd be great. It's not true. I mean, Idaho's regional. If you live here, you realize we don't trade with Pocatello and Idaho Falls. We trade with Reno and Ontario and things that way. And if you live in Pocatello, you don't trade with Boise, you trade with Salt Lake. And if you live in Moscow, you don't trade with Boise, you trade with Spokane. Idaho's regionalized. We got lots of MLSs. There's this big chunk of mountains in the middle of the state that you can't kind of drive through. You kind of have to go around, which is where we get to where we are. So these are the associations we're primary with. Odds are you are a member of one of these associations. The Boise Regional Realtors, which is next door, is the largest association that's part of us. There's an 18-member board of directors. The board approves policy decisions that the MLS implements. So any kind of rules we have, any policy change, it starts with the board of directors. So whatever association you're part of, that association has a representative on the board. So if you have a question or you want something brought up to the board, whoever your representative is, that's who you can talk to, and they can get it to the board and they can discuss it. The organization of the MLS, we have 10 people. Everyone has kind of different responsibilities. Most of the time, for most things, if you come into the MLS, you're dealing with membership up in front. That's Amy and Annie. If you're calling in for support, you're talking to Nick, Christian, Chrisley, Barb, or myself. If I'm not doing a class, we'll help out with support a little bit. And as far as support goes, one of the things to remember is that the support for Paragon that's done over the phone is done by us. So it's only available when we're open. So at 2 o'clock on a Saturday, if you're doing a CMA, there's no phone support available for Intermountain MLS for Paragon. There's online support and online information, but the phone is only available when we're available. The other thing with the organizational chart is if an issue ever arises with a rule violation or something, whoever sent you the email about it, that's the person you want to respond to, because that way there's a written record. So if Nick sends an email to you about something and then you email back and forth and he says whatever happened is fine, you're not going to be fined for anything, and then a month later you get a fine, you've got a written conversation between you and Nick saying that you would not be fined for that. And so if you reply back to those emails, that way that conversation exists. It's a lot better than two people trying to remember what they talked about on the phone a month ago. So that email makes it a lot easier. The MLS has 2 committees, the Rules and Policies Committee, the New Tech Committee. Rules and Policies Committee, like it sounds, deals with rules. Anytime there's a change, it initiates in that committee and then the board approves it. New Tech Committee deals with any technological issues, lockbox system we use, programs we have. Every time the MLS contract with Paragon comes up, that committee like doubles in size because everyone wants to have input on the MLS system we use. Now, as far as Paragon goes, especially for those that have come from other MLSs, we've used Paragon for about 15 years. Every time they bring in other vendors to bring an additional bid for another service, no one has anything different than Paragon. I mean, let me rephrase that, better than Paragon when they brought it to the board. Might be different, just like a stick shift or an automatic, but other than the data conversion and the headaches that would come from learning a new way to do the same thing you already do, most things are very similar. So if you come from another MLS and it's got something that Paragon doesn't have, let us know, and we can, even if we don't switch to that MLS, we can present that to Black Knight, the company that makes Paragon, and get them to up their game and add that feature for us. We had somebody just 2 weeks ago came in and talked to me. I want to say they use Flex MLS down in Arizona, and one of the things that was different is that Flex MLS has a printout of the map and then the list of properties on one page. In Paragon, when you do that, it's 2 pages. That's not a big deal. It wasn't a big deal to them, but they just said, this is something I thought was better, and so we sent that off to Black Knight. I mean, who knows if they'll add that to their list of enhancements, but we definitely can provide it to them. Photos. So if you're the listing agent or co-agent, you can upload your own photos. You don't have to take a class. You don't have to have your broker sign off on it. Your name's on the listing. You can do it. Yeah.
So how do you get a hold of Black Knight?
So we get a hold of Black Knight. You don't get a hold of Black Knight.
Okay.
Just like if you buy a Ford at the dealer, you don't call Ford in Detroit. You call your dealer. So if there's a problem with Paragon, you contact us, and we would provide that information to Black Knight.
No, you talked about feature enhancement.
Right.
Okay, so we would suggest that to you, and then you can suggest it.
Right, and I mean, and like any other software, I mean, if we're the only ones asking for it, slim chance it's going to happen unless we pay for it all the way. But if it's something that other MLSs have asked for, then the things that have had requests the most often get pushed to the top of the list. So that's why if there's something that something else does, I mean, I don't go out and use Flex MLS or Navica or anything, so I don't know what those have that Paragon doesn't. But if you've used those other systems and there's something that you used that's not in Paragon, let us know. I mean, same thing with we'll talk about the forms a little bit later, but Form Simplicity is the new forms program that the Idaho Realtors is moving to. Instanet is the old one that will be around until the end of November. If you haven't learned Instanet and you're learning Form Simplicity, that's great. But if you learned Instanet and are using both, if you see something that Form Simplicity is lacking that Instanet has, and I will tell you there are a few things, let the Idaho Realtors know, because they're the ones that have that contract with Form Simplicity. They can say, hey, Form Simplicity, we need it to do this. I'd love to have you tell us that, but it's not our program. It's not our contract. We can't tell Form Simplicity that, but the Idaho Realtors can. So, but yeah, if you see someone that Paragon doesn't have, let us know, because we passed things like that on along before. So back to photos. If you're the agent, you can upload photos. You can email them to us. We'll put them in there. There's a $10 charge for that. So honestly, it's really easy. If you know how to attach a picture to an email, you can upload your photos. You can have up to 25 photos on your listings. Only existing residential structures require photos. So to be built, under construction, not residential, you don't have to have a photo. And when you put your photos in, you want to make sure you don't have any signs in your photos, because that marketing information can't be on there. If you have signs in your photos, you'll be asked to upload new ones without signs. Some reporting guidelines, entering listings, making changes to them. It's the same amount of time. It's the next business day. So if you're entering a listing, it's the next business day after you begin marketing. If you're marking it as sold or a price change or canceled or pending, it's all the next business day. And if you're not going to put it into the MLS by the next business day after you begin marketing, then you have to submit the waiver of benefits by that next business day. The waiver of benefits, you can access it from the front page here in Paragon. If you go to membership info, let me get it a little bigger here. There's the waiver of benefits right here. It's a form that you fill out with your seller that you're indicating the listing's not going to go in the MLS. It's used in coming soon situations or an office exclusive pocket listing where you're never putting it in the MLS. So it's either in the MLS or you have the waiver of benefits. And if you don't use the waiver of benefits as it's supposed to be used, meaning you market your property and it's not in the MLS and you don't have a waiver, the penalty is $500 the first time, $750 the second time, and $1,000 for the third time. So I don't want you to get fined. So if you have a listing and you're marketing it, make sure you have the waiver or you put it in the MLS. You don't want to get fined for that. And the way that we would know is someone would tell us. Just yesterday in the support email queue, there were 2 emails from 2 different people about different properties. They had seen signs out on the lots, but they were not in the MLS and they didn't have a waiver. Now, I will tell you, you have a cushion, but you want to make sure you're following the rules. I'm not going to tell you, I don't exactly know what the cushion is, but since we don't have investigators out there, we can't go out and see immediately the next day after you market it if there's a sign, if it's in the waivers or if it's in the MLS. But there's agents out there that love to do that. They love, before we had the correction button, which I don't know if we'll talk about this afternoon, but we did this morning. Before we had the correction button, we had agents that would print out stacks of listings and bring them in and show us the problems. There was an agent that was a retired teacher, and no joke, he came in one day with a stack about a 1/4 inch high, and he had his red pen in his hand, and he had been circling things on listings that were wrong. So there's tons of people that love to nitpick listings, so you want to make sure they're correct. If you see a listing that's, yeah. Yeah, when you go to the dashboard, in fact, that's the next slide here. You just go to the listing waiver search right here, and it's right here on the dashboard as well. You can just go right here to listing waiver search, and you can search by address or agent name and see if there's a waiver there. And right, but yeah, if it's going to be, it'll have that date on there too. Yep. So you can search for waivers there. When a listing's closed, you enter it as sold in the MLS. Don't cancel it. If you cancel a sold listing, you can be fined. Your office can be fined. Unpublished sold listings are listings that were never in the MLS when they were active. They're put in after the fact. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so we ended up marketing it, but it didn't go in the MLS until a little bit later after that date. So simply some things are out.
Uh-huh.
Are you supposed to refile?
You can refile it, or you can just call us and have us change the date.
Okay.
We can do that too. But you do want to let us know if it changes, because if there's a date on there and it's marketed but not in the MLS, then you're technically out. You're not covered by that waiver anymore because the date's passed. So, yep. So yeah, solds, unpublished solds, listings that had waivers or office exclusives that are put in after the fact. Both solds and unpublished solds have to disclose the sold price. Withdrawn listings, there's two statuses. There's canceled, which means the listing agreement has been canceled. The other withdrawn status is temporarily off market, means for a short time that listing is unavailable. Temporary off market listings can't be shown by anybody, whether it's a listing agent or a selling agent. A temporarily off-market listing will be pulled from websites. It still will accrue days on market. And if you're marking it as temporarily off-market, you have to indicate when it's coming back or why it's not in the agent remarks. And then once it's ready to be shown again, you make it back on market. If you have a listing that's temporarily off-market and you let someone show it, or you show somebody else's this temporarily off-market, the fine could be $500. So if it's temporarily off-market, it's not available. And if you know what those 3 words mean, you would know that temporarily it's off the market. So you wouldn't try to do anything with it. Sold prices has to be reported, like I mentioned. And if you want to see the rules and regulations, here's a little screenshot going to membership info. Rules and regulations are down there at the bottom. The violation chart is also there. If you haven't looked at the violation chart before, it's basically a chart of the fines for breaking certain rules. Not every single rule of the MLS has a fine associated with it, but those that do are on this violation chart. And some have different levels of fines. Some just have one fine, and it's the same every time. So you can look at the violation chart as well there under membership info. And I mentioned this earlier, if you see listings that have problems, hit the correction button and let us know. We want accurate data. Just because you hit the correction button, don't think we're going to find somebody. Now, sometimes people are mad because they wish we would every time they hit the correction button, but we want accurate data. So if someone's going to update their information, we're not going to find them unless they're not doing that. If they're not updating it and they've been reminded or asked to do it, then a fine could be assessed. Some websites to keep track of. First is the member website for Intermountain MLS. It's imlsmembers.com. That is the front page of Paragon right here. In fact, I've got it open right here. imlsmembers.com right there. IMLS Members is our members page. We have a consumer website, which we'll talk more about, intermountainmls.com. It's a public website. Consumers can go there and look up listings. When they pull up a listing, they see the listing agent, because we're not an office. We're not agents. We're promoting people to go to the listing agent. So when they pull up your listing, they see your name. Realtor.org is the NAR industry website. IdahoRealtors.com is the Idaho Realtors, formerly known as the Idaho Association of Realtors, their website. And then the link to get into Paragon, the dashboard, the login screen, ParagonIMLS.com. It's just easier to remember that, and then instead of trying to search for it, because there's like 300 MLSs in the country that use Paragon. So if you just remember Paragon, imls.com, that will take you to the login screen every time. So IMLS services. Basic MLS services are $78 a quarter per agent. I don't know why they're called basic. We don't have advanced or professional. It's just one thing for everybody. So that $78 a quarter is unlimited access to the MLS. You're not limited to only certain times of the day or only certain hours of the day. You can go in and change your listings as many times as you want. There's no limit. Now, I will say, obviously, if they're doing a software update, you're not going to be able to get in there. That's the way it works. Just like when you're getting gas in your car, you can't drive it. You know, there's things that have to happen. So there's other, we have access via Paragon Mobile, which we'll talk about. Other services. PDA is not public displays of affection. That's your personal digital assistant for those that are younger than me that may not remember what those are. But we have apps that you can access MLS data through. We have computer training. Right next door, we have a 16-seat computer lab where we have training on Paragon, Instanet, RPR, Cloud CMA. What else are we doing there? We've done customization classes. Really anything the MLS has. In fact, we have a mobile class that we're going to try doing this week. Any tools the MLS has, we can do classes on. Now, we don't do classes on all of them all the time because some of them are pretty easy to use. The Cloud CMA class, we have it about once a month. It's never full. And it's not empty because people don't use Cloud CMA. It's empty because Cloud CMA is easy to use. And that's why it's not a full class. And so some classes and other things are just easier, so we don't have classes on them. But it doesn't mean we can't do training if somebody needs it. We also have listing input classes. If you're at an office like Silver Creek or Keller Williams where you're going to enter your own listings, before that's turned on for your account, you have to take the input class. We have to go over all the required fields and everything you have to enter in so that you know what to do when you're entering a listing. So they have you take that class first, and then you can have that turned on after your broker authorizes it. We provide forms preparation assistance. Now, that specifically is talking about the MLS data forms. If you want help filling out an RE21, talk to the Idaho Realtors. It's their form. It's not ours. But the MLS data form asking for the features and dimensions and details of a property, that would be what we would be able to help with. And then MLS technical support. The Paragon support, like I mentioned, is done by us here. So if you have questions about Paragon, we would take care of that. Other products like, for example, RPR or Form Simplicity or Instanet, we will help with some of that, but we don't have admin ability to look on the back end of those programs like we do Paragon. So don't be surprised if there's something that we can't help with Form Simplicity because we don't have access to it as like we do Paragon, so we probably give you their information and let you contact them for support. I'd love to tell you that I know everything about every program the MLS has, but I do not. Neither does Nick, neither does Barb. We know a lot, but we don't know about all of them. So sometimes those individual products provide their own support. So here's the Intermountain MLS Gateway. I always call it the dashboard, but whatever you want to call it, it's the place where you go when you log in. And each of those icons is a tool or a product the MLS provides, and most of them are free. And if they're not free, there's a free component. And so as we're going through these today, if I don't mention a price, it's because it's free. And I will tell you right off the bat, the ones that have a price involved for the full version, Listing Book, Goomsy. The rest of those are and RDesk would be if you have IDX on your website that you're using. But the rest of those are free, part of the MLS, you don't have to pay to use. First thing to talk about the members page, imlsmembers.com. Anytime there is an update to the MLS or a rule or something happening, like the tech fair, you'll probably see lots of stuff about the tech fair in the next month since we're having this tech fair on May 4th. It's going to be at the Courtyard Marriott at Overland and Eagle. And if you didn't figure it out, May 4th is Star Wars Day, so you're going to see a lot of co-opting of that branding. May the 4th be with you is kind of our theme for our tech fair. And a lot of the providers that we work with, Showing Time, HomeSnap, they're all going to come and they're going to have classes there as well. So on the members page, if you go to the training menu on the left there, there's an option for training info and resources. That provides links to a lot of the products and tools the MLS has. So if you have a question or you want to get some more information and there's not a class coming up or we don't have a class on it, you can get information there like HomeSnap or Client Connect 2 or something. You can go there and get that information. Another service that we provide is IDX services. IDX stands for Internet Data Exchange. Like it sounds here, it allows brokers and agents to advertise listings on their company or personal websites. If you're an agent, you have to fill out a broker authorization form to have your own website with listings on it. Your broker has to approve it. Section 18 of the rules talks about that. There are a lot of third-party vendors, local vendors that provide that searchability. What I'm talking about is where someone goes in and types in Boise 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That search function on your website, that's the IDX part. And so that's what Section 18 of the rules talks about. Brokerages can get a custom data feed if they want their listings displayed a certain way. A lot of brokers have a framed solution that you can use from their website. We also have a smart framing solution that you can use and set up specific searches or feed generation. You can also use it for lead generation of consumers. To use the IDX service, no matter what way it is, there's a $25 setup fee. And if you're using our IDX solution, it's $10 a month. Now, I'm showing you ours not because I want you to use it or buy it. I could care less. I'm showing it to you so you know what the bottom of the barrel is. This was great about 5 or 6 years ago, but there's other websites that are a lot more user-friendly and better looking than what our solution is. So if you know what our solution looks like, then you at least know what you want to have something better than. And I'm not making fun of people that use it either, because a lot of people use it as well. But why do they use it? Because it's $10 a month and not $75 a month like somebody else's website might be. So there's two types of the search that we have. First, make sure it'll open for me here, is just the regular property search. And so someone would come here, and of course you would customize the colors and the logos and everything, but they could come in here and enter criteria, enter advanced criteria to search for properties. We also have a map search, and the mapping is probably of the two, the one people are going to use the most. I mean, when you open up the Realtor.com app, does it come up with a list of things and say, pick your area, pick your city? Nope, it opens up a map, shows you where you are. That's what people want to use. So this is the map search, and when you bring up the map, you can zoom in, view properties, of course, put criteria in there, and the way this generic account is set up, if I click on view details, it's going to prompt me to log in. That's the key part of having a website. You don't have a website just to have people look at listings and hope they call you. You have a website to capture that lead information and market to those people. So no matter what you're using as your website, you want to make sure that's part of it, is that you can capture that lead information. This account is set up so that if anybody wants detailed information, they've got to log in. They can see general information. They can see prices in one picture, but the minute they want more information, they've got to register. And so that's the mapping search. So when you're setting up your website, you want to have something at least better than that so that you can get the information out to people you want to. We are a leasing administrator for Supra. We have two Supra products. We have the Express Key, which is, this is the picture of it right down here on the bottom right. And then we have the E-Key, which is on your phone. The Express Key is an annual lease. It's $237.48 a year, and it's prorated. So if you got your key today, you're paying from today until October, till that lease comes due, and then you pay the whole lease again. The E-Key Professional lets you put the key on your phone and includes a roster and listing information. And the listing information is downloaded into the app, so you don't have to be online. You don't have to use your data to look at that listing information. Now, there's no photos, but everything but photos is there. Agent information, showing instructions, agent remarks. The E-Key Basic, which is the $15.76 a month, turns your phone into a key. Doesn't have the roster, doesn't have the listings. No matter which version of the E-Key or the Super Key you get, there's a $75 activation fee. And if you get the Express Key and decide you want to change to an E-Key, you can do that. They'll credit you the difference or pay it towards your balance or whatever. You're not going to lose money. You don't have to pay the $75 again. You just pay it the one time as long as you have a current account. Now, if you go inactive and turn in your key and 6 months later join again and reactivate, you'll pay the $75 again because it's a super fee. It's not our fee. You can't share your key. Key is just for you. If you share it, it's a $500 fine. The only one that can share a key is a broker. They can have an extra key per office to share with someone if their key isn't working. But if you don't have a key account with Super, you can't use a key. You can buy lock boxes. They're yours when you purchase them. They're $89 plus tax. Thing with buying lock boxes is occasionally, and I had someone tell me yesterday that every year we did it. It wasn't every year, but occasionally we have lock box exchanges. I will tell you in the last 14 years, we've done it twice. And the last time we did it was about 18 months ago, and they did it because the iPhones used to not work with the lock boxes on their own. You had to have the key fob, the $55 thing it's talking about there. Every iPhone user had to buy that key fob for $55 to use their iPhone with a lock box. So Supra upgraded their Bluetooth in the iBoxes to work with Apple devices, And we did a lockbox exchange to upgrade to those. And everybody who had a lockbox got a brand new one. Even if they had it for 5 years, they traded them straight across. Don't know any other piece of technology that improves that they'll let you trade your old one for a brand new one without any other cost. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is if you go inactive and you own lockboxes, get rid of them. Sell them to someone else. The person that I talked to yesterday that said we did it every year, which again, we don't do it every year. We've done it twice in 14 years. She got stuck with like 20 lockboxes. And then when she reactivated, she had all these boxes that were no good. And the thing is, if you're not active with us, we don't know to send you an email, and you're not logging into Paragon seeing that we're going to have a lockbox exchange. So when you buy a lockbox, it's yours. If you go inactive or you think you're going to go inactive, get rid of those boxes, sell them to somebody else. We don't buy them back, but you can sell it to somebody else for $70, undercut us. We don't care. You know, it's not a competition. If you sell it to somebody else, that's great. They bring a bill of sale, it's in their name, and then it's off your hands. Because when we did the lockbox exchange before, just because of scheduling, it was in December. I mean, we didn't say, hey, super, December is the best time to do it. That's when it would work for everybody. And you had people that went active for the winter, reactivated in the spring, and Super gave us a month and a half to exchange the boxes. That's a long time. I think we had 70 days, 75 days. No, it was less than that. It was a month and a half. I'm not going to do the math. I'm bad at math. So anyway, we had a month and a half, and people would come back in March after the time had passed, and while we would feel for them that they've got this paperweight that we can't do anything with, we couldn't exchange it because Super gave us a cutoff. I mean, the only way we could exchange it was for us to lose $89. And I don't know anybody else. I don't have $89 just sitting around to give to people. And so if you have lock boxes and you go inactive, sell them to somebody else so you don't get stuck that way. And this is the first new member orientation that I've mentioned that, but it's because I talked to that lady yesterday, and I felt really bad for her. But again, it's not me, it's Supra. It's their lock boxes. They're the ones exchanging them. So if you have lock boxes and you go inactive, you want to get rid of those too. Another thing with keys and lock boxes, those that are here this morning saw this exact same slide. Home inspectors can have e-keys. So what an e-key, like we talked about, is the one that's on your phone, but the kind home inspectors have is called an affiliate key. And so in order for them to use it, they have to have the CBS code, the call before showing code, from your lockbox. And in order for them to get that key, they have to be an affiliate member with one of those associations that are part of Intermountain MLS. They have to be insured and have a background check and bring all of that with them when they sign up to get that affiliate key. And so the only way they can access it is getting that CBS code. And the two screenshots here are the SupraWeb website and the eKey app showing where that CBS code can be viewed. So if you have a lockbox and you need to give someone the CBS code, there's two different places you can get it. And each lockbox has its own unique CBS code, just like they all have a unique shackle code. And like the shackle code, if you want, you can program the CBS code to be something else. You can either bring it in here, or if you program your lockbox with your phone, you can do that too. imlsmobile.com, we have a mobile app. You'll notice it's got a picture of an old school BlackBerry there because it works on anything that has internet access. It is not super new flashy website. It is meant to work on as many devices as possible. You can email listings from here. When you email it, it's a client view. The login is the same as Paragon, same number and password. If you have your location information turned on, it can use GPS to search near you. There's no visual map, but it uses the GPS. And you can put a criteria in there. Now, it doesn't access Paragon contact or save searches the same way as it does when you're online, but it does let you view the listing information on your phone. And if you're an agent that can maintain your own listings, you can do some maintenance like price changes and status changes with IMLS Mobile. HomeSnap, if you want something better than IMLS Mobile, which I would recommend something better, HomeSnap is an app that we provide. It's free to use. You can download it from whatever app store you use, Android or iOS. When you download it, you can log in and I want to say they call it claiming your ID. When you log in as an agent and they verify that you're an agent, you see agent information like the agent remarks, showing instructions, all that kind of stuff. And a consumer can download HomeSnap and log in with Facebook, but they don't get that stuff. They get consumer information. So you want to make sure that you don't log in with Facebook, log in as an agent. And if you have a HomeSnap on your device, you can go in and look at property information. You can see property lines. You can see school information, and this little screenshot here is showing production information. So you could pull up the information on another agent, see how they're connected to you, like who in your office they've done business with, and then you can see the last 24 months of their activity, both on the listing and the selling side. So HomeSnap just kind of compiles that data. And with HomeSnap, you can use it as a messaging tool to your clients, and then every time they respond back, it's in HomeSnap. So instead of texting and emailing and Facebook, you can do it all in one place from HomeSnap as well. And HomeSnap is one of those companies that will be here for the Tech Fair on the 4th. There's client invitation tools. If you go to their website, like you can get a little flyer you can give to your clients so they can download the HomeSnap app. When they download the HomeSnap app and it's linked to you, every listing they bring up has your name on it. If they just log in with Facebook, it's going to be whoever's listing it is. But if they go through you, they're going to see your information. So that's HomeSnap. CRS data is another tool the MLS provides when you're looking at a listing in Paragon. When you're looking at the full detail, there's a CRS data icon. It's this black and gold icon. Let's find one that's in somewhere else. There we go. And when you click on that icon, it provides public records data. CRS stands for Courthouse Reporting Service. CRS data, they're going to be here as well at the Tech Fair. So here's this house in Meridian. I can see the sales history. I can go here to the mortgage history, get more details. And also with CRS data, I can go up here to prospecting, and you can prospect owner data, and you can export it to labels or to a spreadsheet. So maybe I want to send postcards to these 100 houses in this subdivision. I could go here to export that data. And so CRS data lets you do that as well. Cloud CMA, another tool the MLS provides. Cloud CMA will also be here at the Tech Fair. Cloud CMA is free. It's part of the MLS. They do have some upsell things to make it add additional design options, but the full tool is part of the MLS. You don't have to buy anything to use it. Cloud CMA lets you create CMAs, buyer tours, property reports, flyers, all from within a listing as well. When you're looking at a listing on the full detail or the action icons on the spreadsheet, you've got links to create flyers and property reports. If you're doing a search and you bring up the spreadsheet, you can send listings from your spreadsheet either to a CMA as your comps or to a buyer's tour for your buyer. Buyer's tour being like a CMA for a buyer, like a packet you would give them. And like I said, it's part of the MLS. Cloud CMA also has a presentation view for the CMA and the buyer tour, which if you're on a tablet, you can swipe through it. It's a great way to present the information instead of just having somebody flip through a packet of paper. And so when you're doing those CMAs or buyer's tour, when you see the present option, that's what it's talking about. So Cloud CMA is part of the MLS. When you initially create your account, it's going to have you put a lot of information in there, but you don't have to pay. You just have to put your information in there. Instanet. It has forms, DocBox, Authentisign. The Idaho Realtors provide Instanet, and that Instanet support is going to go till the end of November. All their forms are there. When the update happens in July, they'll be updated. It's available online, so you can access it anywhere. You can create transactions in Instanet. You can, when you're looking at a listing, there's an Instanet icon right here. When you click on it, it takes you right into Instanet to create a transaction and copies in property information. That's one of the reasons why Instanet's still around, is that Form Simplicity doesn't have that built in yet. Once that integration is built in with Form Simplicity, like here you'll notice, if I just hit create, here it's built my transaction, pulled in the picture from the property. If I go here to the contacts, there's the seller right from the listing. All that information is pulled in automatically. And so once that integration is complete with Form Simplicity, it'll do it as well. But you can access it anywhere. Also with Instanet, if you fill out a data form for a listing, you can send it from Instanet into Paragon as a partial listing, so you don't have to re-enter all the data. Again, that's not set up with Form Simplicity. They're working on it. Once it's completed, it'll have that functionality as well. So Instanet's going to be here through November. So if you're at an office and they're pushing you to Form Simplicity, that's not a bad thing, but Instanet will be here till November. Instanet has more functionality right now than Form Simplicity does. Form Simplicity will do the same things Instanet does. it will have it set up where you can click a link and have it populate a transaction. You can do electronic signatures with Form Simplicity, just like you can with Instinet. It works a little differently, set up a little differently, but it does the same things. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're using Form Simplicity and you have a question or you're wanting it to do something that it doesn't do, or you've worked with other software and it did this and you want Form Simplicity to do it, let the Idaho Association of Realtors know. They're the ones that are switching. They're the ones that have the contract. It's not the MLS. I would love that you could tell us and we could pass that information on, but we can't. And even us telling the Idaho Realtors is not as strong as you, because we're not a member of the Idaho Realtors. We don't pay them dues every year. You do. So if there's something that Form Simplicity needs to do that it's not doing, let them know. When they launched it, they said it would do everything Instinet does. And as people that use it in your business, if you see something that's lacking, let them know. But again, that integration should be happening anytime. It says spring 2017. Hopefully, spring doesn't end until June 20th, so they still have a little bit of time. So hopefully it will be all there. But I'll tell you on a little anecdote here. When they launched Form Simplicity last November, they said it would be 30 days. So that's if you and you may not have been an agent back in November when this happened, but when it happened, the MLS put a lot of information out there getting feedback so that the Idaho Realtors would have a little more information about how losing Instinet would affect people's business. This is one of the reasons why, because 30 days we knew wouldn't happen. People that don't deal with software, it's like going to a used car and having the guy tell you how great the used car is, then you drive it away and it blows up on you. But we knew 30 days was not going to happen, and it did not. Listing book. This one I mentioned has a price. I don't even know what the cost is. It changes occasionally, so I don't have the actual current price. What Listing Book does, though, is if you pay for the full version of Listing Book, it allows you to put buyers and sellers in there. They can sign themselves up as well from your website, and then they can be emailed on a daily basis with information about properties that match their criteria. So a buyer sees listings they might be interested in. A seller sees competitive listings that are out there that are going pending and sold. You can see everything your clients do. You can see the listings they look at, the ones they like. They can leave comments back and forth with you. And like I said, you can have a link on your website where they can sign themselves up. And if people go to listingbook.com nationally, if you're paying for the full version, then leads are sent to you from the people that go to their website. Now, the free version of Listing Book lets you put individuals in there. I think it lets you put 5, maybe. And it doesn't let you see everything they do. So the reason I'm mentioning that is if you try the free version and you don't like it, you're not really seeing the whole thing. And I'm not telling you to pay for the whole thing, but I'm just letting you know that the free version is dumbed down more than what the full version has. Then, like it says at the bottom here, it helps automate busy work, so you don't have to set up notifications and email them out, tracks their activities of the buyers and sellers, and it's going to provide information to your buyers and sellers that is going to come to them via email that they're going to see coming from you that you don't have to go out and find, like content and other information. So that's Listing Book. Yeah.
Did you say that the CRS1 is also part of MLS or something?
No, it's part of MLS. Yep. Goomsy Realty Connect. Goomsy Realty Connect is text message marketing. So like the picture shows here, you can get a sign writer, get a short code on there, and people could text that code and get information on their phone about the property. So instead of having flyers that people can take and boxes that are empty, you could put a sign writer up there. They could get information on their phone. It also will generate QR codes so somebody could scan it if they wanted. Like Listing Book, there's a free portion and a paid portion. The free portion gives you 2 short codes that you can use continually. You can reuse them. So you have a sign writer, you can move it from property to property. If you pay for their upgraded version, you can get more codes. And the upgraded version also has a thing called the autoresponder. So for example, if you have the sign writer with a short code on there and somebody texts that number and gets information on their phone, if you have the free version, they get your information from about the property and that's where it ends. With the autoresponder, you can set up an additional message that goes to them within a minute of them getting that first one that might say, hey, I see you're in front of my house. I'm available these times. Call me if you want to see it. And then they can respond back to that text and you can see that conversation on the Goomsy website. You can keep track of what they've said back and forth. And there are a lot of other providers, lenders, title companies, other service providers that have similar products. The big difference is you're capturing this prospect's lead. If a lender or title company is giving you this kind of thing for free, you can guarantee they're scraping the data to contact those consumers. Goomsy doesn't do that. Goomsy's business model is different. They have MLSs, they have offices that use this service, so they're not capturing that data. Their tagline is empty flyer boxes are a thing of the past. So if you don't have a text message marketing part of your marketing that you do right now, Goomsy Realty Connect, the free version, gives you 2 codes that you can use. So it's a start. So that's Goomsy Realty Connect. List Track. So List Track, let me get logged in here a different way. What List Track does is List Track provides analytics for listings that you have in the MLS. Shows you where in the country people are viewing your property. Let me get logged in here, see if it'll work. Maybe. There we go. Now, my login is MLS wide, so I can't pick an individual listing, but I can go in there and I can see as an MLS whole where people are looking at our listings at nationally. Oh, come on. So List Track is right here on the dashboard. And again, I don't have an individual listing that I'm looking at, so it's going to bring up everything. But like up here at the top, where it says markets, this is going to show a map, and the red areas are where people are looking at listings at. And obviously Idaho, big place people are looking at listings. It looks like North Dakota and Louisiana as well. And as I zoom in, I can see the areas where listings are being viewed. And if I had an individual listing, this map would correspond to that listing. So I can see where it's being viewed. We had an agent in here a few months ago, a broker, that had a seller that wanted them to purchase advertising in a zip code in Southern California. And before they did that, they wanted to see if we had any tools that would do something similar. And we were able to show them List Track so they could see that their listing was already getting penetration in that area. Because if that listing agent is going to buy advertising, who pays for that? The listing agent. Seller's not going to fork out any money to buy that airtime or whatever it was going to be. So you can use List Track to see where your listings are being viewed. You can also come down and see on what websites it's being viewed and how long it's being viewed and compared to other similar properties. So List Track can be really useful to give you that analytic data that a lot of people want to know. How's my listing being viewed? Why is my listing being viewed less than others? Well, it's because you don't know how to price it right. So let's price it right, and then it'll be viewed more. They're always adding more sites. It doesn't have every single site that we syndicate to, but it has lots of them. It has Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com. You can send the seller an automatic report. You could also have it sent to yourself. And that report is automated. Every week they would get a report showing them the times their home has been viewed, the times similar homes have been viewed. So that's List Track. It's one of the free services. Next one to talk about is showing time. So showing time is, if you're working with a buyer, showing time is a way to schedule showings via Paragon. And if you're a listing agent, showing time is a way to schedule a showing so you don't have to play phone tag. When someone brings up a listing, they can click on the schedule a showing and select the time they want to go, and then you can approve it, or your seller can approve it, and then they're notified without having to play phone tag with 4 different people. And if you are a listing agent and you want things automatically approved because it's a vacant home, you can set it up so it automatically approves those. If your seller is the one that is approving or denying those showing requests, you can have the seller be the person who gets the text message. Or if they have the Showing Time app on their phone, they get a push alert to let them, or push notification to let them know to approve that. So Showing Time can be pretty useful. They're also one of the ones that are going to be here at the Tech Fair. Now with Showing Time, when you are looking at the dashboard, when you click on Showing Time here, what it's going to let you do is it's going to let you go set up your profile. One of the first things in your profile you want to make sure you set up is verify your mobile number. If you don't verify your mobile number, it can't text you. It's not going to guess that the number you put in there is a mobile number. So if you don't verify it, it's just going to call you with this generic 800 number every time someone requests a showing. But if you verify your mobile number, it'll text you. You can also go in on individual listings when you're doing listing maintenance and set up the showing time preferences on that listing. So for example, maybe your seller tells you, hey, we go to church every Sunday, the family comes over, we don't want any showings on Sundays. So instead of you having to take a phone call from somebody and say every time no showings on Sundays, no showings on Sundays, or somebody ignoring what you wrote in the agent remarks, you could go into Showing Time and block out every Sunday that listing is listed. And then if somebody goes to request a showing, Sunday's not available because you've already blocked it out. So there's a lot of good things you can do with Showing Time. Showing Time apps available for iPhone and Android devices. The other thing Showing Time does, and I don't think I have a slide for it, but I'm going to show it to you because what's the use of having a live demo if you can't do things? So, bring up my listings here. And the last time I tried to do this, it didn't work. So we're going to see if it works this time. So let's say these 3 listings are ones I want to go show. Under Actions is Showing Time. And what that lets me do is it lets me add them to what are called a showing cart. And you'll see in a minute why I'm doing this. So I go add to showing cart. And then I choose a time. Let's say it's going to be today. And the description is going to be new showing. All right, so here's the listings. And I can click on address to sort them by address. I can do Smart Route, and there's a map down here as well. I can do Smart Route to put them in the route that it thinks is the best order. But the other thing that you can do with Showing Time, and this is the question people always ask, how can I get the driving directions from Paragon on my phone? You can't. It's not a way to do it. Paragon isn't a phone app, but Showing Time is. So let's see if this is still working like it's supposed to. All right, so here's my phone screen. Here is Showing Time. And there's my upcoming tours, new showing that I just created. Tap on it. I have not requested the showings from the others, from the sellers yet, or the listing agent, but I tap on that new showing, maybe. There we go. And you'll notice in the little corner under the address is a little car. So I tap on that car icon, and here comes my Google Maps to navigate me to that house. So even if you don't think Showing Time's useful, if you have listings and it's a pain, I just want to call people and wait on hold forever. We have nothing else that does this. We did this a year ago almost. We had a guy who had been a broker in Utah, retired to Boise, and couldn't stay retired. So he became a broker here. He didn't know anywhere in the Treasure Valley at all. And so after the new member orientation, we helped him put the Showing Time app on his phone and showed him how to do this, because then he can go to every property he wants to go to. So even if you're not using Showing Time, or you've had your broker or some old agent tell you Showing Time sucks, which is a lie, it doesn't suck. This thing, nothing else does this. And I mean, if you're going to show these 3 properties and your client decides they want to go to number 3 first instead of number 2, if you printed out directions to go from property to property, you're screwed because you don't know how to get there. But with that little Showing Time showing cart, I just click on the house on the correct one and I'm going there from where I am. Yeah.
Will it only work for current active listings?
Right, because they're the only ones you can set showings up for. So if it's a sold or it expired, it's not going to come up there. And if you tried to request a showing, for most of those, the Showing Time icon will be on there. But if you try to enter the MLS number in, it'll tell you it's a restricted type. So it only works for actives. So thank you for asking that. That's Showing Time. And I had someone after class one time tell me, you must really like Showing Time. I could care less if you use Showing Time. But if I was an agent, I would want to save time. This saves time. I mean, there's lots of things you do that you can't speed up. You can't speed up calling your sphere of influence. You can't auto-robot. You can't make a robot call of your own voice. I mean, most people can. But you can speed up requesting a showing so you don't have to play phone tag. I mean, last thing I'll say about it. If you don't use Showing Time in the world we live in, first off, how many of you like to listen to voicemail messages? I want you all to know no one raised their hand. None of us like it. So if you don't use Showing Time, here's how it goes down usually. You're the selling agent. You call the listing agent. The listing agent calls the seller. You had to leave a voicemail for the listing agent because they didn't answer your call. The listing agent has to leave a voicemail for the seller because the seller's busy. The seller has to check their voicemail, call back the agent. The agent has to check their voicemail, call you back. By that time, in the market we're in right now, an offer could already be accepted. So if you're using Showing Time and you're the listing agent, you could have it set up so when the selling agent requests the showing, it goes right to your seller to say yes or no, and then it goes right back to the selling agent to say yes or no. You as the listing agent can be notified every step of the way, but you don't have to touch it. It goes right to the person who says yes or no, and then back to you. So that's all I'll say about Showing Time. If you want more about it, they're coming. Yeah.
This is its own app.
Yes. Yep. And if you want more information on it, Showing Time is going to be at the Tech Fair. There's the independent brokers have a meeting here every Tuesday. I talked about Showing Time for like 10 minutes, and as I did it, I saw like 4 old guys all roll their eyes at me while I was talking about it. You know, and that's fine. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. But what I'll say is, at the end of 2004 is when we went full-time online, and there were 4 brokers in Twin Falls and 1 in Boise, I know, that quit the business because the books weren't being printed anymore. So, I mean, technology rolls on and people get passed by sometimes. I'm not saying showing time is equivalent to that, but if you think of the things that you do, I mean, when you have an appointment from your dentist and they verify with you, how many you get a text message? And how many you just text a Y back that you're coming? You don't have to call and talk to the receptionist no matter how nice she is. You don't have to call and say, Sandy, I'm going to be there, which Sandy is the name of my dentist receptionist, by the way. Anyway, so that's showing time. We talked enough about showing time. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like, it's supposed to look like a clock. So I don't know if that looks like a clock to you, but it kind of does, I guess. All right, so that's showing time. Find, Realtor.com Find. Find is the agent side of Realtor.com. So any listing on Realtor.com you can pull up and find. And when you're looking at a listing, one of those icons on the full detail is the Find icon. It will bring up that particular listing and Find. Find is great because it provides public records data. Now, Idaho's non-disclosure, so it's going to be limited if you're going to see anything. But the other thing Find is great for is it lets you search data from other MLSs throughout the country and Idaho. For example, if you are U of I, well, U of I doesn't work anymore because Moscow is part of our MLS. Well, if you went to Idaho State in Pocatello, and now you live here, but you lived in Pocatello a long time, per the Code of Ethics, you could sell houses in Pocatello because you know Pocatello. I mean, if I remember the Code of Ethics from what people have told me, that I've never done ethics class, but yeah, you can only sell where you know. You can't just go sell things you don't know. So if you know someplace like Pocatello, and you have someone that wants to move to Pocatello, and they want you to go there and sell a house, you can definitely go join the Pocatello MLS, which I would probably recommend because that guarantees you're going to get paid. But if you don't want to do that, you could look up a house on Find, see the house, see who the listing agent is, see who the listing broker is, and then you could potentially sell that house because as an agent in Idaho, you can sell homes anywhere. You're not limited just to where you are a member of the MLS. So Find lets you pull up properties anywhere in the country, but also specifically other MLSs in Idaho. There's a girl I went to high school with that is an agent over in Island Park, Jackson Hole area. The year we launched Find, that's when I found out that she was over there. I pulled up her listings in Find. So I could just see if it, and so I know that you can pull those listings up other places. The trick is they have to be listings going to Realtor.com. So if somebody's not sharing their listing with Realtor.com, it won't be here. So it's got to be those. Realtors Property Resource is another tool that is pretty useful. It's provided by NAR, and it's only for agents, for realtors, and you have access to public records data from throughout the country. So you could pull up public records data from a property in Colorado, see mortgage records if they're there, distressed property information, and then it integrates it with listing data here. So the public records data that is available for listings here, you could see that, distressed property information, mortgage records, and that kind of stuff. One of the things that RPR has is what's called an RVM. And again, we are going to flip to my live demo here. Where's this one at? Meridian. Oh, no, this is Nampa. This will work, though. So here's the RPR icon. Now, RPR is free. It's part of the MLS, but you have to set your account up to use it. And one of the things they require when you set up your account is you need your NERDS number, your National Realtor number that you got when you joined BRR or whatever association you're with. So one of the things that RPR has is what's called an RVM. RVM stands for Realtors Valuation Model. And once I had someone say, is that like a Zestimate? If Zestimates were good, yes. In Idaho, Zestimates aren't good because we're a non-disclosure state and Zillow doesn't have sold data. But RPR shares data with the MLS. That's how they integrate it. So they have that information. So what the RVM does is it takes on and off market data to calculate a value. So this one is listed at 258. The RVM is 219. The range goes from 199 to 238. If I click on view details on this RVM, I can see the properties they used. So here's the subject right here. Here's the properties they used to calculate it. I can see the on and off market properties. In this case, they used recently solds to calculate that RVM. Now, the RVM isn't the end all be all of valuations. Obviously, this listing agent does not agree with that RVM. But the RVM only changes when markets change. So if this house sells for 258, all the other houses around it, that will boost the RVMs on those. So that's how the RVM changes. So the RVM stands for Realtors Valuation Model. RPR has it. RPR also has a mobile part. RPR is free. It's part of the MLS. And let's go back to my little phone here. The other thing RPR does is when you're looking at properties, because it has access to public records data, you can bring up information on properties that aren't in the MLS. So when you're looking at RPR, let me bring my map up here and you'll be able to see it. It has colored icons for actives and solds and things, but it has gray icons for properties that are unlisted. So let's go north here. There we go. Let's zoom in here. So you see that green one. Let me zoom in a little more. And can you see the parcel numbers there? Maybe you can't see them, but you see the little gray icons that all popped up? Okay, so here's this one that is recently sold. Then right next to it is off market. But you'll notice it has, if I click on it, it also has an RVM. The RVM isn't only calculated for listed properties. It's like Zestimates. It's for everything. And so I can come here and see that property information, and that's bringing up the old listing information. And with RPR, when you use it, sorry if I'm jumping around too much and it's driving you crazy. If you have RPR mobile, this is why I did this, you will notice on my computer under recent properties, this is a little phone icon, this is a computer icon. That's the one that we just looked at. So when you're driving around with your client and you're pulling up property information in RPR, you don't have to try to remember what that other house was they looked at that you hadn't planned to see. If you're using RPR, it's going to come up under your recent properties, and if you did it on your phone, it'll have that icon right there so you'll know what you saw. So RPR stands for Realtors Property Resource. The mobile app pulls up the same information that RPR Online does. Now, obviously, at least for me, it's harder to search the mobile because I got big thumbs, and it's not hard to, it's hard to type on there compared to my computer, which is easier to type with. But other than that, it's the same information. So if you haven't tried RPR, I would definitely recommend it. The hardest part for people is setting up their account because they have to have that NERDS number. And for some people, they have to go in and create an account from scratch. For other people, it'll say you already have an account and it wants you to change your password. And you're like, I don't even know what my password is. So if you don't know what your password is, sign out or go back to the login screen and do forgot password. It will ask for your email address and NERDS number, and then it will send you a password that you can reset. And if you don't want to go through all of that email or signing out or whatever, if you scroll to the bottom, they've got a phone number and live chat 24/7 they can talk to you with. The login is not the MLS login, though. Typically, it's your email address, and then supposedly sometime in the past, if it says to have you change your password, supposedly they would have sent you a password at some time. Who knows when that was? But you can contact them, and as long as they can verify who you are by your email address that NERDS would have, that NAR would have, and your NERDS number, then they can send you a password to reset it. When we do the classes on RPR, no joke, first 10 minutes is always people getting their passwords. Even though the email they get from me has a link to click on and say, if you're coming into an RPR class, make sure you can get into your account. And I don't mind that we do that, but I'm just letting you know if you've tried to log in and it was frustrating, it's like that way for everybody because everyone has to get that password set up initially. And then once you have that password set up, that's what you would log into the mobile with, your email address and your password. Down payment resource is another tool the MLS provides. It's a tool that allows you to see if down payment programs are available for properties in the MLS. And it bases it off of location and price. And then you can go in and see what programs are available, provide that to your buyer, and then they can see if they qualify for one of those programs. When this was launched, probably I think 3 years ago, 87% of the listings were eligible. I mean, it's down payment assistance, so a $3 million property in the foothills probably not going to have down payment assistance. Sorry, millionaires, you got to buy your own house all by yourself. But for most homes, $300,000 home in Meridian or Cuna or Nampa, there's probably some kind of assistance available. In fact, even in Cuna, rural development in Cuna, I mean, there's lots of things out there that you may not know are there, and it's just a way to help you educate your buyer so they know what they can qualify for. Because not that lenders are bad, I'm not saying they're predatory, but just like at Best Buy, if you go to Best Buy today and say, what's your best printer? They're going to tell you it's HP. Next week, they're going to tell you it's Lexmark because that's the one they're getting the kickback on that week. Lenders are the same way. They have things that are more popular than others because they're promoting them. This just puts some more information in your buyer's hands. You can also access it from the dashboard, which lets you go in and put in an address and see if there's assistance available. You can access it from Paragon as well. You can add it to your spreadsheet. There's an icon on listings. If the icon is not there, it means that listing doesn't qualify for anything. The icon's only going to be there if the listing qualifies. So like this one right here, if I click on that down payment resource icon, it's going to bring up down payment resource, and it tells me there's 7 programs. I can click here on next steps, give that information to my buyer. They can see if they qualify for the IHFA good credit down payment program or whatever this is. And so that's what that icon is right there. But you could go into Paragon and you could create, I mean, you see it on the spreadsheet here, you could create a search. Like if you've got a first-time home buyer and they really want some home buying assistance, you could do a search and only bring up properties that have down payment assistance. Now that may be, there's nonprofit assistance, there are for-profit lenders on there as well, but you could put it on there and then share that information with your buyer. Another service we have is RE Technology. So if you're not getting enough emails, RE Technology can hook you up. They can send you lots of emails. Now, I say that kind of in jest because everybody complains about getting lots of emails. But if you want a way to find out about new and emerging things and free trials of software, RE Technology can provide that. And they don't send you emails every day. I think it's once a week. But if you want a resource to get information, you can do that with RE Technology. And on our front page, the front page of Paragon, the middle page there, if you go to where it says partners, you'll see like DocuSign or RatePlug or Realtor.com or Tour Factory. And right now, not Realtor.com, but the other ones like Tour Factory and DocuSign. If you go to the links from that partners menu, there's some kind of discount. They're all different. I mean, if you go to tourfactory.com, you can sign up and create virtual tours. If you go to our link for Tour Factory, you can do the same thing, but there's a little bit of a discount going through our link. They're all different. I don't know what they all are. I don't set up those contracts. But if you go to the partners links, that's what they're for. So IntermountainMLS.com, I mentioned this before. This is our members' website. Consumers can come here and search for properties. They can search for open houses, agents, or offices. We also have publicly available statistics that come out the week of the 12th every month. And we have archive statistics. If people want to see how many homes sold in October of 2015, they could do that. That information's there, broken down by area. On our search screen, we have a basic search. There's a map search. They can do an advanced search. When they bring up listings, it comes up in a list. They click on a property. They get the full detail view, and you can see this guy's picture there, and I blurred out his name and his office, but obviously it was there because you're going to see who the listing agent is if they come to our website. So I'm not telling you not to send your clients here, but if you don't have a buyer rep agreement, they're going to know who the listing agent is because we're not going to try to protect. We're not an agent or office site. We're a MLS site. So if it's your listing, we're going to refer people to you. So just you want to keep that in mind. That's the detail view. Down at the bottom, it says agent login. You can also get to that on the dashboard here if you go to where it says public website. What that lets you do is go in and update your contact information, languages you speak. Let's pick on somebody here. Oh, maybe it won't let me do it. It's not going to let me do it because of my login. I thought it would. Anyway, so you can go there and see information that's there. If I don't have any listings on my account, of course. But if you have listings, you can also refresh the photos. Because our website, for as nice as it might be, it only updates photos once a day. So if you go in and update all your photos, they're not going to be at IntermountainMLS.com until the next day. But you could come here and manually refresh them to update those photos, in addition to other things on this site. So that's the mobile site. I mean, not the mobile site, the public site. Paragon is the MLS program you use. Paragon 5 is the version we have. Paragon 5, if you want help, obviously we talked about you can call us for help if we're open. But if we're not, up at the top is the help button. When you go to help, it's organized by category. Like if I'm doing CMAs or working with contacts, I could click on those topics and it would provide help information about those. And also I could go in and search topics if I needed to. Paragon has a part of it called Client Connect. Client Connect 2 is the current version. Client Connect is a way for your clients to view listings based off saved searches you put in there for them. So they can go there and view the properties that match their search. They can mark them as favorite, possible, or rejected. They can leave comments. And all of those things you do, you see in Paragon. When you go to their contact record, it shows you all those things. This is what it looks like on a computer. There's another better picture of it. It also works on mobile devices. It's mobile friendly. Lets them do a search as well if you want. So you can be notified when they do those things. You can see what they've done. So that's Client Connect. Now, along with the Client Connect mobile, the Client Connect 2 that we have, they did an update in the last month or so to when you email someone. So let's bring my phone back up here because I don't have a slide for this, but I wanted to make sure I showed you. So if I go here to my email, hopefully this is the right one. It's not going to come up there. Let's try this one. Don't read my emails. There we go. Link for NMO. See, I did this earlier. So there we go. I click on that. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's not what I wanted. That's going to be mess this up. There we go. Link for NMO. See, I did this earlier. So there we go. I click on that. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's not what I wanted. That's going to be mess this up now. Did y'all catch what that was? That was this class going on right now. Because there's a person that's viewing this via webinar, and I clicked on that wrong link. So. I know I have a link here somewhere. If I don't find it, I'll just tell you about it. What it does is it does a mobile view, a mobile version of the listings.
Chris?
Yeah.
I think catch that we could actually have an allowable use of doing this as a webinar. Is that somebody that's
It's somebody who's far away. Yep.
Maybe like the Moscow side.
Oh, exactly. That's the only time we have that. So, yeah. Well, let's put it this way. We do this class quarterly in Twin Falls. We do it quarterly in Twin Falls, and then we have it once a month here. So nobody in Twin would be doing it. Somebody farther than that. So, all right. So let's just email this. All right. So email. All right. So when you email someone a listing, when they click on their computer, this is what it looks like. Looks like a regular, looks like a report. There's the client view. They can view it that way and everything. But when you email it and they open it on their mobile device, there we go. So now I'm on my link to listings here. They click on that link and it senses they're on a mobile device, just like a lot of websites do. And it brings up this collab link mobile view. So instead of seeing just the client detail like I just saw there, they have this mobile view that when they click on a picture, it's going to come up and they can scroll through all the information in a mobile-friendly view. And they can scroll through the pictures. Now, I want everybody to know I'm scrolling through more than 2. I had someone yesterday tell me only 2 pictures worked, but I'm going through lots of pictures here. I'm not saying that person was wrong. I'm just saying that it didn't have a problem for me. Now, there's this mobile view. Now, just to kind of show you how Black Knight, who makes Paragon, kind of responds. When they launched this, the only way to get to the desktop view would be either to go request desktop site on your browser, or they had this little menu hidden over here that's a desktop view, but they added that button to the top. So, for example, if you're sending this to your client and you don't like this mobile view because you're used to the view that you see in Paragon, if I click to switch to desktop view, now I've got this nice view that I can pinch and zoom around at and look at. Consumers hate that. Consumers, I've never heard someone tell me they complained when they went to a website and it switched to a mobile view. Now, agents complain about that, and I say agents, we're talking like 10 or 20 out of 5,000, so that's not very many. But when you email someone from Paragon, it dynamically changes that to a client-friendly mobile view. So when you bring it up, that's what it's going to be. So it works. It's based off the same technology they used for Client Connect. Then they just pushed it to use for those emails. So that when your clients open up on their phone, it's not something that's hard for them to view. They can scroll through it just like they do when they bring up something in Realtor.com or on Zillow or whatever. Paragon has a map search that's available. When you go in to do your residential search or whatever, there's a mapping option. You can do 3 kinds of shapes. You can do rubber band, radius, or polygon, and you can do up to 10 shapes at a time. When you we have to draw the shape to do the search, but when you draw that shape, it will show the properties that match your criteria. So if you do the map first before entering any criteria, you'll be seeing sold listings for the last 15 years, expired and canceled for the last 7, all the actives and all the pendings. So if you're putting some criteria in there first, and then you go to the map, you'll only see the ones relevant to your search. And a map doesn't trump anything else. If you have a map in there and then you put a school in another city, you'll find 0 listings because they have to match. Paragon works on any browser. Safari, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, works on any of them. Firefox, Chrome, and Safari are probably going to be your best choices. I would not recommend Internet Explorer. I would not recommend Edge, although it will work. When you're searching by address, you want to remember that people enter the listings. The address of the building we're here right now is 9542 West Bethel Court. But if it was a listing, how did they put court in there? Is it CT? Is it CT period? Is it CRT? Is it COURT? If I entered as CT and they put COURT, those aren't the same, so it won't come up in my search. So when you're searching by address, put the things you know that will be there. The street number and the name of the street, 9542 Bethel, I would always find it. So less is more when you're doing address searches. Sometimes you can even just put in the street number and search and it will come up, because how many 9542s are out there? When you're emailing, the default email report is the MLS client detail. Any report that says client, customer, brochure, or flyer is meant to be used with consumers and is edited that way. Anything that says full or agent or all is going to be meant for you. It's going to have everything. There's a report called All Fields Detail that if you haven't looked at it before, it's, for me, I think it's under favorites for everybody. It's every single field from a listing. When you print this, it would be like 3 pages because it is everything. A lot of people think the full detail has everything on it. It doesn't. It can't because it's only a 1-page report. The All Fields Detail has everything. There's a newsletter the MLS sends out. You can subscribe to that when you go to the public website and update your profile. The newsletter is great because anytime there's new information, it goes on the front page of Paragon and it goes out on the newsletter. So the newsletter has a lot of good information as well. When you're working with a listing as a listing agent, you can make sure the mapping is correct when you go to listing maintenance and go to change geocode. That way, when someone pulls up your listing and clicks on the map icon, it doesn't say no map available. It shows where the property is. So you can go in there and correct it. Also, as the listing agent or co-agent, you can upload documents. When you upload documents, it puts the document icon on your listing so that people can view it. They can view those documents. They can be made public. They can be made private, only for agents to view. It's up to you. Paragon voice search. If you don't have data where you're at, you can call an 800 number from the number that's in your agent record. For most people, that's your mobile number. And you can be guided with voice prompts to do searching on your phone. I've done it once. It wasn't very fun, but you could do it. Customize reports. When you're viewing reports in Paragon, and again, I got Paragon up, might as well show it to you. When you're viewing a report like the client detail, when you go to customize, if fields is not grayed out, that means you can edit something here. On the client detail, what you can edit is at the bottom, you can put your name and your office information. If you don't have that in there, what it says by default is click the customize button above, then fields to enter your own custom contact information. It's telling you to come up here and do what I just did. You want to enter that in there. And so other reports like the customer handout automatically have your name on it, but you can't change it because it comes from your profile. So you either have ones you can customize that are blank, or you have the default information from your account. So the goals of the MLS: stay on top of issues and new technology, continuing to provide new services and tools, which means that dashboard that when you log in is only going to get bigger. We're always looking, when I say we, I mean the board. I'm not out there looking, but the board is always looking for new things to provide that can enhance the value of the MLS. And especially if there's not a cost involved, if they can use a data share or something to get that information, they are always looking for new things to provide. Up until December of last year, we had 2 different mobile apps that provided identical service. We had the Goomsy mobile app and we had HomeSnap that we launched in August. The HomeSnap adoption was so much higher than Goomsy, it didn't make sense to keep both. But for a time, we had both. So sometimes there's things that do the same thing, but they do them differently. And until there's a winner or one that's being used more than others, we might have both. So it doesn't mean you have to use everything that is on this dashboard. Use the things that you need. Because you might think, well, RPR and Find have similar things. CRS data provides some of that same stuff. It totally does. but they all have the unique part. The biggest thing with CRS data that none of the other ones do, it lets you export that owner data. And so you just kind of have to find what works for what you're doing. We also want to always take care of our participants and subscribers, our brokers and agents. Provide accurate information to them. That's why you have the rules and the fines, because you want accurate data. And by doing that, that helps reduce broker liability. Because the more accurate the data is, the less the broker is going to be making mistakes, because they're going to know what's going on with the listings. And then we're always trying to move consumers to realtors. That's why our page doesn't hide who the listing agent is. Because the MLS is the same for every agent, whether you're an office of 1,000 or an office of 1. The MLS works the same for everyone. So there's an antitrust presentation here, and then we'll come back in a minute after that and we'll talk. Hopefully it will work like it's supposed to. Can you guys hear that back there? Okay. Is that loud enough or too loud? Okay. Don't go to sleep. I'll be right back.
I'm not doing it. We'll begin with a brief overview of antitrust law, and then we'll bring the law to life by taking a look at some examples of real estate agents in situations in which antitrust violations could occur. Why is antitrust a major concern for real estate professionals? Real estate brokers vigorously compete for securing inventory and listings to offer for sale, but brokers also regularly cooperate with one another to sell those listing properties. This dual tradition of competition and cooperation presents frequent opportunities for antitrust misconduct, as we will see. The foundation for federal antitrust law is the Sherman Antitrust Act. The Sherman Act establishes two basic elements of an antitrust violation: an agreement, understanding, or conspiracy among competitors that unreasonably restrains competition. Penalties for antitrust violations include liability for 3 times the plaintiff's actual damages, payment of the plaintiff's reasonable attorney's fees and costs, court supervision of the defendant's business for as long as 10 years, and prison terms. As a real estate professional, it's important for you to be aware of how your words and actions can inadvertently move you into dangerous antitrust territory. And of course, it is vital that you know how to properly handle these types of situations. Let's take a look at Phil and Kelly, the 2 agents who work for the same firm. Kelly is an experienced, very successful agent. Her broker has come to appreciate her knack for mentoring less experienced agents like Phil. Phil is ambitious and hardworking, but he has only had his real estate license for a few months and is seeking just his second listing. Phil has a listing presentation today. As you watch how he interacts with his sellers, see if you can identify any behaviors that may be potential antitrust violations.
So I keep telling Wayne, well, why don't we just put it on the market already? And I keep telling her we will, but not unless we shop around a little. Now, it's like I always say, I don't care who it is, a real estate agent, an oral surgeon, or a broker. You've got to get 3 bids. That's right. And we need to feel that we can work together, right?
Oh, absolutely, Mr. Gray.
Wayne.
And I'm Sarah.
Sarah. Okay, so what do you think?
What's this commission, 5%?
Well, that's part of the sales price that goes towards.
We know what it is, but isn't that high? And Sarah, didn't the Browns pay 4%? Yeah, 4%. So why is yours more?
Well, it's compensation for my services. Marketing the house, running the ads, conducting all the showings, open houses.
Couldn't you do that for 4%?
Not really. Actually, the commission rates are pretty standard.
Well, then, why did our friendlies pay less?
Well, there are some firms out there that try to get away with it, but most of the responsible firms in the association go along with the program.
Oh, yeah? Well, we just talked to a woman from, Sarah, what was the name?
Rock Bottom Realty?
Right, Rock Bottom. She said she would put our house in the MLS for $500. $500. We can still sell it ourselves without paying a dime more, and if an agent from another firm brings in a buyer, we only have to pay a 2% commission. Now, that's less than half of your commission.
Rock bottom. Well, you're right. They do charge only $500 to list your house and put it in the MLS, and you would pay just a 2% commission if an agent from another firm delivers a buyer. But that's the problem. See, for that amount, no other agents want to show Rock Bottom's listings because they have to do all the work that Rock Bottom should be doing. So it actually costs you more in the long run because it takes you longer to sell. See, if I lowered my commission rate, I'd also have to lower what I offer other agents in the MLS. And no one would want to show your house either. So really, it's in your best interest for us to charge the standard commission. See? You follow? Most of us think Rock Bottom listings shouldn't even be in MLS. This cake. Ooh.
If you were in Phil's position, being questioned on your commission rate, would you have handled the situation differently? After his presentation, Phil meets Kelly at a coffee shop, and she asks about the meeting. Let's see if your ideas about what Phil might have done wrong are the same as those offered by Kelly.
Starting to wonder if we even gonna get another listing.
It couldn't have gone that badly.
No listing.
Well, you said they were still shopping around.
They didn't want to pay our commission, bottom line. And that was even after I told them it was the same thing everybody else charges.
You didn't say that.
Why?
Phil, what you said makes it sound like we all got together and agreed on a fee. That's what antitrust lawyers call price fixing. You don't remember that from orientation? Do you remember that you can go to jail for price fixing?
Come on, Kelly.
No, really. I know you didn't mean that, but just the same, that kind of talk gets you in a lot of trouble. It gives the impression that all the firms around here agree on the fees they charge. If the jury gets that impression, it doesn't matter what you meant. We're all guilty.
You make it sound like I'm headed for a guest spot on America's Most Wanted. Come on, it was just a little remark, that's all.
Okay, I know it was just a remark.
I really wanted to get that listing. Besides, as far as I know, our commission is the same as most other firms in town.
But it doesn't matter if most firms charge the same if they haven't agreed to do it. But you made it sound like that's exactly what's happening, which is price fixing. You shouldn't use words that even imply we could with other firms.
Aren't you overreacting?
Well,
It just bothered me that they were so impressed that Rock Bottom Realty would charge $500 just to stick the house in an MLS and not do anything else. I just wanted them to know that no one would show their house if they listed with Rock Bottom.
great, Phil. Now you're 2 for 2.
What? Oh, I know, I'm guilty of bad enough to go to firm, right?
Try boycotting another firm. I don't want to kick you when you're down, but what he said makes it sound like all the other firms in town are working together to drive Rock Bottom out of business. You need to know what you can say and what you can't.
It's not what I meant.
I know that, but the sellers don't, and what you imply could cause real problems. Even with, say, advertising, for example. We can do whatever we want, right? Run our ads in any paper, pull them if we think that the rates are too high or the print is too small, but do that together with other firms, and it's a group boycott, an illegal boycott. Boycotts, along with price fixing, are the most common antitrust allegations that people in our business face.
I should have talked to you before
If someone questions you about your commission, you come back with a clear description of all the services you provide. Tell them why you're worth it. Stress our company's track record. Focus on making the sale quickly at the listed price. Show them how your marketing is going to accomplish their goals.
As Kelly pointed out to Phil, the two antitrust violations that are of most concern to real estate professionals are price fixing and group boycotts. Both of these are per se restraints of trade, meaning that the plaintiff does not need to introduce any evidence that the restraint had an actual impact on the market, and the defendant is not offered a chance to justify his actions as reasonable. As a real estate professional, you deal with customers and clients, competitors, and other service providers. It is important that you know how to limit your risk of antitrust liability in your relations with each of these groups. One of the fundamental decisions that any business must make is establishing the price it will charge for its products or services. Real estate brokerage firms are no different. Each firm must establish the fee it charges for its professional services. The keys to avoiding antitrust violations or claims of violations alleging illegal fee setting are to establish fees without consultation or discussion with persons affiliated with any competing firm, to be sure that all brokers and agents in the firm understand that the fees charged by the firm are not and may not be established by agreement with other firms, and to ensure that when the company's brokers or salespeople discuss fees with clients, they use words that clearly indicate that the company prices its services independently, and that there is no unintentional inference that fees are set by agreement with other firms. This means never responding to a question about fees by referring to pricing policies of other firms. You should respond to questions about your commission by pointing out the value of the services the client receives for the fee charged, and how your services are most likely to lead to a transaction at a fair price in the shortest period of time. It's also important to understand that it is unlawful to agree with other firms about non-price aspects of the terms on which a firm provides its services to clients. Firms may not, for example, agree with other firms about the terms of their listing agreements, including the length of a listing, the type of listing agreement, or the formula upon which compensation will be based. Illegal price-fixing conspiracies may involve not only the fee a firm charges for its services, but may also involve a cooperative commission split, that is, the fee paid to the successful cooperating broker who delivers a ready, willing, and able buyer for a listed property. It is illegal for brokers to agree or conspire to fix the amount of the cooperative compensation paid to other competitors. Listing and cooperating brokers may, of course, discuss or negotiate the compensation they will pay to each other. However, these discussions should never include representatives of a third firm or address what each broker will offer to pay to other firms. In addition to price fixing, a group boycott is a violation of the antitrust laws. A group boycott occurs where two or more competitors agree not to do business with another firm or to do business with the other firm on agreed-upon terms. For example, a broker may decide to offer one or more potential cooperating firms a different commission split than it offers to other cooperating offices. This is permitted by antitrust laws, so long as it is done without agreement with other firms. However, if a number of other firms simultaneously determine to offer a similarly lower split to a given firm, that may imply a conspiracy against the firm offered that lower split. Therefore, any decision to vary the firm's compensation offers should be carefully considered, and if made, documented, in order to be able to rebut any inference of conspiracy with other firms who may also be offering less compensation to that firm. In the same way, you should never suggest to a potential client that they should not do business with another firm because other brokers will not cooperate with that firm. A statement like that suggests that everyone understands or has agreed to refuse to do business with that other firm. After Phil and Kelly met at a coffee shop, Kelly headed to a listing presentation of her own. Let's see how she handles questions about her commission.
So it sounds like you're taking a really step on.
We just don't want to sit around for 18 months like the place across the way. I understand that your home has some very desirable features. And do it with a balcony, panoramic view, hardwood floors throughout, granite countertops, with a high-tech security system.
And the price?
Based on the comparables down, I feel very confident that we priced it right.
I guess you ought to make it official.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I know you told us already, but could you explain the part about the commission one more time?
Sure, Allison, it's 5% of the sales price.
That's standard, right?
I don't think your brother's broker got that much. There's no such thing as a standard fee. Our firm determines its commission based on the services we provide to make sure you meet your real estate goals.
You mean a quick sale at a good price?
Right. You need to sell quickly because of your transfer to Cincinnati. And we've agreed on a price that reflects fair market value. Now, to make sure we meet these goals, I'll do several things.
Like advertise the place,
Have an open house? Sure, but I'll also do a lot more than that. I'll put together a comprehensive marketing plan and put your home in the multiple listing service, which will make it available to all MLS participants. We'll run regular newspaper ads and advertise it on Realtor.com. We'll coordinate or arrange all the showings. Buyers will be screened to weed out the serious from the curious. And because our firm is associated with a relocation plan, we'll have an even larger pool of serious buyers.
That's gotta help.
And when you do get offers, we'll help you evaluate each one, whether to accept it or reject it or make a counteroffer.
If we go through making those kind of decisions, we use.
Well, as I mentioned before, our firm sells homes that we list in significantly less time than average for our market. But of course, all the things we do to sell your home cost money, and you don't pay the commission unless and until there's a sale that you are satisfied with. I think you'll find the quality is worth the investment, and the returns you get will more than justify the commission we'll earn.
Honey, I'm so.
All right, let me sign this thing. Thank you.
By their very nature, realtor associations consist of a group of competitors who may violate the antitrust laws by agreeing among each other in the ways just described. That is why it is important that brokers who participate in the affairs of an association of realtors be alert to discussions at association meetings relating to commission levels, pricing structures, or marketing practices of other brokers. Brokers who find themselves in the midst of such discussions should immediately suggest that the topic be changed, and if unsuccessful, should promptly leave the meeting. If minutes of the meeting are being taken, the broker should insist that his or her departure be noted for the record. Competitors are not the only potential targets of a group boycott. Another type of illegal group boycott is one targeted at a supplier or purchaser. A familiar example of a temptation for brokers to engage in a group boycott of a supplier occurs when brokers become frustrated with a local newspaper's advertising rates or editorial practices. Any agreement to reduce or stop advertising in the paper would constitute an illegal group boycott. Agreements among brokers to act collectively with respect to other suppliers, such as printers, sign makers, or hardware or software vendors, are likewise vulnerable to antitrust claims. Real estate brokers' compliance with the antitrust laws is directly related to their ability and willingness to educate their salespeople. The broker should ensure that the salespeople have at least a working knowledge of how antitrust laws are applied in the real estate industry. Every real estate brokerage firm should have a written, office-wide antitrust compliance policy that is applicable to every employee, independent contractor. A salesperson should report to his or her broker or sales manager any suggestion by salespeople from other firms that could be interpreted as an invitation to fix commissions or boycott a competitor. Once an incident has been reported, the broker should immediately take steps to disavow any participation by the firm in such a scheme. When we saw Phil earlier in the program, he had put himself in a precarious position because of his lack of awareness of antitrust red flags. Let's look back in on him a few weeks later to see if he's learned his lessons.
Have you seen this new listing?
Bill Walker. Jeff. Hey, sure. How's it going? Good. Pretty good, pretty good. How about your Good. Yeah, I read yesterday, see that? Oh, yeah. The ad for the Internet Realty Associates. I saw that too. What do you mean, a bunch of us are getting together to do something about them? Well, of course I'm concerned about a new competitor. And I know a little bit about these guys, and I know they're pretty smart. But that's not the point. Jeff, we'll figure out for ourselves how we can best compete with other firms. I don't care what other firms. No, I don't even want to know what firms you've been talking to. Or what you might be talking about doing. Like you're asking for trouble. I've already heard more than I want to. Can you believe that guy? I wonder if he even knew he was doing anything wrong. How could he not know? Okay.
In their day-to-day business decisions concerning the fees they charge clients, commissions to state and cooperating offices, or other business practices, real estate brokers must be certain that their decisions are the result of independent business judgments about market conditions facing the firm. Consultations with competitors about these decisions can result in otherwise reasonable actions being held to be illegal. Finally, antitrust compliance is not simply a means to avoid liability in litigation. Universal antitrust compliance ensures the ability of all competitors to succeed to the extent their skill, industry, and foresight will permit.
How many of you seen that before? Okay. Questions about anything we talked about today? Antitrust, any of the stuff the MLS has? If you have questions or you think of something after you get home, up here at the top is our phone number. There's also the support at intermountainmls.com email address if you have a question as well. So that's all I've got for you this afternoon. If you didn't, make sure you get signed in on the sign-in sheet. It's still out there. So thanks for coming. Have a good afternoon. And it's a beautiful day outside.
Take care of that.